Are you thinking of buying a Tesla Model X? It's a very nice car, and I've been thinking about buying one for my business for a while. So today I would like to share with you key tax rules that would help you determine how much money you can write off if you bought Tesla Model X. So unlike other business properties, business vehicles are under more stringent tax rule for write-off purposes. Just to give you an example, if you're a dentist and bought a dental chair for your dental practice, you could just simply use Section 179 expensing rule to write off the entire amount that you spent to buy the chair. But when it comes to business vehicles, you can't do that. You can't just use Section 179 on all cars. In fact, most cars are not eligible for 179 expensing rule. So the car has to meet two specific requirements in order to qualify to use the full 179 expensing rule. So the goal is to write off the entire purchase in the year that you purchase a car, right? So first requirement has to do with vehicle weight. And the second requirement has to do with vehicle type. So vehicle weight and vehicle type, two requirements. So let me talk about the vehicle weight, the first requirement first. So you're probably thinking about 6,000 pounds. You probably heard it somewhere. That is absolutely right. If your business vehicle weighs less than 6,000, you cannot use Section 179 expensing rule. So that lightweight vehicle is now subject to what is called luxury auto limitation, where the maximum amount that you can depreciate over 6-year span is limited to only $74,000 in 2024, roughly. So if you're a big baller, like oral surgeon, like my buddy Dr. Ha, and buy a Ferrari as a business vehicle for $250,000, unfortunately, the amount that you can depreciate over 6-year span is only $74,000. And it would take about 20 years to depreciate the rest, $180,000, since the amount that you can depreciate in year 7 and on is roughly about $7,000 a year. It goes up annually, but $7,000 in 2024, roughly. So let's go back to the vehicle weight and Model X example. So let's just assume, for illustration purposes, that you spent $100,000 to purchase your Model X that you use for your business 100% of the time. Since the Model X weigh more than 6,000 pounds, luckily, it would not be subject to the luxury auto limitation that I mentioned for depreciation purposes. Yay. So does that mean that you can expense the entire $100,000 that you spent to purchase the Model X under Section 179? The answer is unfortunately no. The reason is that the Model X does not meet the second requirement. I mentioned there are two requirements based on the weight and based on the type. So second requirement is based on the vehicle type. There are only 3 vehicle types that can utilize the full Section 179 expensing rule. So what are those 3 vehicle types? So type number 1 is a heavy truck that has a cargo area of at least 6 feet in interior length. The Chevy Silverado 3500 Duramax is an example. So type 2 is a transportation vehicle, airport shuttle that carries more than 9 persons behind the driver's seats. So example would be Ford Transit, the big one. So type 3 is a delivery van like Amazon's Sprinter van, where there's no seating behind the driver's seat. So those are 3 types that that's eligible for full Section 179 expensing rule. Since Model X does not fall into any of these categories, types, only $30,500 can be expensed under Section 179. You can still use 179, but there's a limitation on how much you can expense. And 2024, the amount is again $30,500. And this is the part that people misunderstand most, as I did not know this second requirement until relatively recently. So what does that mean for your Model X depreciation for year one? Is there any way that you can depreciate more than $35,500 by Section 179 in year one? The answer is yes. It is through bonus depreciation. You probably heard of it before. So bonus depreciation comes after applying the 179 expensing rule. So bonus depreciation is like a cousin of 179 in that it also allows you to accelerate depreciation just like 179. The rules are slightly different, but the end result could be pretty similar. So I'm going to use an example to illustrate how bonus depreciation works. So let's assume that, again, you spend $100,000 to purchase the Model X. And you use the Section 179 expensing rule to write off $30,500 out of $100,000 in purchase price, right? So now you're left with roughly $70,000 of depreciable basis, like $100,000 minus $30,500 through 179. So now the bonus depreciation kicks in. So in 2024, you can bonus depreciate 60% of the remaining $70,000, which amounts to $42,000. So using the 179 and bonus depreciation, you can write off approximately $72,500, which consists of $30,500 using 179 and $42,000 using bonus depreciation. And $72,000 out of $100,000 that you spend to buy your Model X, you can depreciate. But yet, there's another depreciation rule that you can use to write off even more in year one. The third depreciation rule is called MACRS, which stands for Modified Accelerated Cost Recovery System. So using this depreciation rule, you can depreciate the remaining $28,000 over the next 6 years. So in year one, you can depreciate additional $5,600. The remaining basis will depreciate over the next 5 years under a regular depreciation table. So in summary, in year one, if you bought the Model X for $100,000, you can depreciate $30,500 using Section 179 and $42,000 using bonus depreciation and $5,600 using MACRS, a total of $78,000. So there are 4 cautions that I want to share with you related to 179, bonus depreciation, and depreciation in general. So number 1, the depreciation that you can take is only based on your business use percentage of the vehicle. That's very, very important. So if you're using the Model X personally, say 20% of the time, then you can only depreciate $80,000, which is $80% of $100,000, not $100,000. Okay. So number 2, if you buy the vehicle, but use it for less than 50% for business year one, then you are not allowed to use any of these accelerated depreciation rules like Section 179 and bonus, even MACRS. So you would then have to use a straight line depreciation rule where each year you can only depreciate up to 20% of the amount that you spent. So caution number 3, the bonus depreciation percentage is phasing out. So this year, you can use 60% bonus depreciation, but next year is going to be 40, and the following year is going to be 20, and the following year after that is 0. But there's a talk in Congress, it's been a while, about pumping the bonus back to 100%. So we'll have to see what happens. So last caution, number 4. Certain states, like the wonderful state of California, do not allow bonus depreciation. And additionally, California does not allow full 179 expensing. The maximum that it allows you to write off is $25,000 under 179 expensing rule. There's a lot more to business vehicle deductions, but I think this is probably enough for today. So hope this was therapeutic. So I'll see you at the next tax clinic.